So think about your day-to-day, like from the very second that loud, annoying alarm rings in the dark.
Oh, the worst sound.
Right, the absolute worst. And think about everything that happens all the way to that quiet moment when you finally, turn out the lights at night.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. Your day is messy. It's full of rushed breakfasts and complicated work emails.
Small talk by the coffee machine.
Exactly. Small talk and annoying chores you really don't want to do. So here's the hook for today's deep dive. How do you take all of that chaotic, nonstop human action and engineer it into a perfectly balanced language lesson?
It's an incredible design challenge. Because when we think about learning a language, we usually think about neat little boxes.
Right, like textbooks.
Yeah, textbooks. A chapter on colors, a chapter on food.
Going to the bank.
Exactly, going to the bank. But human life doesn't happen in neat chapters like that.
No, it really doesn't. You don't wake up and just experience like food vocabulary for 3 straight hours.
Yeah.
Life is a blend. And today, we are exploring a really fascinating blueprint that tries to capture that exact blend.
Mm-hmm.
We're taking a deep dive into some notes generated by an AI tool, specifically Google's Gemini.
Using features like Gemini Canvas, right?
Yes, exactly. And the AI was given this prompt to design an audio script called Easy English Daily. And the whole goal was to teach English not through, random grammar rules.
Which can be so boring.
So boring, but to teach it through the actual chronological structure of a normal daily routine.
And what's fascinating here is that looking at an AI's approach to this, it's not just guessing.
Right.
Tools like Gemini, they process these massive data sets of human interaction and language acquisition theories.
Behavioral patterns too, right?
Yeah, exactly. So when it builds a learning plan, it's actually organizing the language in a way that matches how our brains naturally process our environment.
Which is so cool. And I should mention right now, because this blueprint is specifically designed for people learning English, we are going to really honor that mission today.
I love that.
Yeah. So if you are listening right now to practice your English, you are in the perfect place. Welcome.
Welcome.
We are going to keep the vocabulary very clear, very accessible, and we're going to speak at a nice, comfortable, relaxed pace.
Which honestly is just good communication anyway.
It really is. But, keeping the word simple doesn't mean our ideas are simple. We're still going to dig into the deep psychology of how habits and language connect.
Because using simple language to explain a complex idea is actually, it's one of the best ways to test if you truly understand something.
Oh, 100%.
It forces you to strip away all the complicated jargon. You just look at the core mechanics of the idea.
Right. So let's jump right into how this AI structures a day of learning.
Let's do it.
We are going to follow the natural flow of time, starting exactly where the day begins.
Morning.
The morning. So according to our sources, the first part of this English learning script is saved as a very specific file block. It's called podcast script ti1.md.
And just real quick, that MD extension, it just means it's a markdown file.
Right.
It's a very clean, simple text format that AI and developers use a lot to outline structures.
Thanks for clarifying that. So the structure in this first file focuses purely on the morning routine, daily life and habits.
Mm-hmm.
And the source notes tell us something highly specific right away. This entire morning segment, it's designed to last only about 5 to 6 minutes.
That's really intentional.
Yeah. It introduces these basic practice sentence structures, but it anchors them to a very specific, very relatable concept.
The struggle to get out of bed.
Yes, the struggle. And then it transitions right into morning exercise.
Which is just a brilliant structural choice from a psychological standpoint.
Okay, let's unpack this. Think about this 5 or 6 minute morning section, like stretching before you go for a run.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Right. You can't just open your front door and start sprinting down the street at top speed.
You definitely pull a muscle.
You would. Your body needs a warm-up. And in this script, you are warming up your English skills. But why do it with the feeling of struggling to wake up? Like, why focus on hitting the snooze button?
Well, it comes down to how the brain builds memories. When you're trying to learn a new language, your biggest enemy is a lack of context.
What do you mean by context here?
So if I just hand you a flashcard, right?
Yeah.
And it says, I am tired.
Okay.
Your brain has absolutely no reason to care about that information. It's just abstract data on a piece of paper.
It's boring.
Exactly. But let's look at the reality of, say, 6:30 a.m.
Oh, I know the reality of 6:30 a.m. very well.
We all do.
It's usually me aggressively negotiating with my alarm clock for just, 10 more minutes of sleep.
Exactly. And that specific phenomenon, actually has a name. It's called sleep inertia.
Sleep inertia.
Yeah, it's that heavy, groggy feeling when your brain is trying to transition out of deep sleep. You feel it physically.
Oh, yeah. My arms feel like lead.
Right. And it's an emotional state, too. You might feel a little annoyed, a little sluggish, maybe even a little cold when you pull the blankets off.
Definitely cold.
So, by connecting English practice sentences to that highly specific, universally understood feeling.
The sleep inertia.
Yes. The vocabulary becomes incredibly sticky.
Sticky meaning like it stays in your memory. It sticks there.
Exactly. The brain's limbic system, which processes our emotions, it actually gets involved in the learning process.
Oh, wow.
So you aren't just memorizing the words, I don't want to get out of bed.
You're actually feeling it.
You're feeling the exact emotion those words describe. So the next time you wake up tomorrow morning and you feel that heavy sleep inertia.
My brain is going to automatically trigger that English sentence.
Yes. The emotional memory triggers it, and the English words just come along for the ride.
That makes total sense. It's kind of like hearing a song on the radio that immediately makes you remember a specific summer from when you were a kid.
That is the exact same mechanism.
The emotion locks the information in place. That's powerful for a learner. But, okay, let me push back on the time limit here.
Okay.
Because the source is very firm that this section is only 5 to 6 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
If the brain is making these amazing emotional connections, why stop so soon?
Yeah.
Like, why not make the morning routine lesson 20 minutes long and teach them every single object in the bedroom? Bed, lamp, rug, window.
I get why you'd ask that.
Yeah.
But it's because of cognitive load.
Cognitive load. Let's explain that.
Sure. Your brain only has a certain amount of energy, or like a budget, for processing brand new information, especially first thing in the morning.
A cognitive budget. I really like that phrase.
Right. If you spend your entire mental budget trying to memorize 20 minutes of complex vocabulary about bedside tables and window blinds before you've even had a cup of coffee,
We're going to crash.
you're going to experience massive burnout.
You'd be totally exhausted before the day even really starts.
Precisely. So a 5-minute limit is a very strategic use of what we call micro habits.
Micro habits. Small, easy things to do.
Exactly. It's an amount of time that feels completely manageable. Even on your absolute most tired, grumpiest morning, your brain can usually accept a 5-minute commitment.
Because it's just 5 minutes. Anyone can do 5 minutes.
Right. It provides just enough repetition of those core sentence structures to actually be effective, but without triggering the learner's natural resistance to doing hard work.
So it's kind of tricking the brain into working before the brain even realizes it's working.
In a way, yeah. And notice what happens immediately after that struggle to wake up. The source notes say the script transitions directly into morning exercise.
Yeah, that really caught my eye too. It goes from, I want to sleep, directly to, let's do some jumping jacks.
It's a massive shift.
It's a huge shift in energy. Why do that?
It creates a narrative arc, like a tiny little story inside those 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm following.
You start in this state of low energy and resistance. Then you overcome the resistance, you get out of bed, and you move into an active state.
You start moving.
Right. And from a linguistic perspective, this allows the AI to seamlessly introduce a completely different set of vocabulary.
Oh, I see. You shift from passive words to active words.
Exactly. You go from verbs like sleeping, resting, snoozing.
To action verbs like stretching, breathing, moving.
Yes. The language mirrors the physical reality of the human body waking up. The learner actually gets to practice a complete physical and emotional journey in just 5 minutes.
And because they just stretch their physical muscles in the story, their language muscles are perfectly warmed up too.
Beautifully put.
So they've completed the first file. The morning is officially done. Now the blueprint moves us out the front door and into the public world. We are heading into the middle of the day.
Which is usually the most chaotic and unpredictable part of anyone's routine.
Completely chaotic. And this actually brings us to a part of the AI's outline that I honestly have to challenge a bit.
Oh, really? Let's hear it.
Yeah. So according to the source notes, the middle segment of this daily routine script focuses on 2 main environments, the workplace and socializing.
The office environment.
Yeah.
And hanging out with friends.
Right. But here is the specific detail that surprised me. The source notes show that these 2 topics are bundled together into one combined file.
Ah, yes.
The AI named the file podcast script pd2pt3.md. Now, wait a minute. I really have to stop you here. This feels like a mistake in the curriculum design to me.
How so? Why a mistake?
Because if I'm sitting down to study workplace English, my goal is usually very specific.
You want to sound professional.
Exactly. I want to know how to ask my boss for a deadline extension. Or I want to learn the vocabulary to present a slide deck or read a financial spreadsheet.
Very focused goals.
Yes. I do not want to mix that serious professional study time with learning how to invite someone to a coffee shop or how to talk about a funny movie I just saw.
You want them separate.
Right.
Right.
Doesn't bundling work and socializing completely confuse the learner?
This raises an important question. And you'd think so, wouldn't you? It sounds super messy on paper.
It really does.
Because we are traditionally trained to believe that business English is a completely separate language from casual English.
Exactly. If I learn them at the exact same time in the exact same audio file, aren't I risking a situation where I accidentally use casual street slang when I'm trying to close a major deal with a client?
That is a very common fear among language learners. But here is where the AI's analysis of massive human data sets shows something truly fascinating.
Okay, what does the data show?
The strict wall we imagine between our work life and our social life. It's an illusion.
An illusion? What do you mean it's an illusion? I definitely act very differently in a serious boardroom than I do at a weekend barbecue.
You act differently, yes. But the environments are actually completely blended. Think about a normal 8-hour day at an office.
Okay.
You don't just sit silently at a desk, typing formal emails like a robot for 8 straight hours, do you?
Well, no, I get up to get coffee. I complain to my coworkers about the printer being broken again.
Exactly. You interact. You walk down the hallway and you bump into a colleague. Now, before you ask them about the quarterly financial report, what do you usually say?
I mean, I usually ask how their weekend was. Or I ask if they saw the big sports game last night.
Right. You engage in social small talk. In fact, sociolinguistics tells us that navigating office dynamics is largely a social exercise.
The social part happens inside the workplace part.
Yes. If you only memorize formal business phrases, you will actually fail to communicate effectively in a real modern office.
Because I'll sound like a walking dictionary, not a real human being.
Precisely. You need the social currency of small talk to build the relationships that actually allow the formal work to get done.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
So for someone learning English, the practical vocabulary they need for professional tasks naturally overlaps with the vocabulary for casual conversation. They happen in the exact same physical space.
Often within the same 5-minute window, like standing by the coffee machine.
Exactly. So the AI bundles them in the same file because in real life, they are bundled in the same hour.
It's modeling reality.
Yes. It is actively teaching the learner how to perform context switching.
Context switching. Okay, let's make sure we define that clearly for the listeners.
Yeah, context switching is basically the brain's ability to smoothly transition between different situations or different sets of rules.
So in language, what does that look like?
In language, it means knowing how to smoothly glide from a casual, friendly greeting directly into a formal business request.
Like, hey, Sarah, great to see you. How are the kids? By the way, I need those budget numbers by noon.
Perfect example. That glide is so important.
Ah, I see. So if the blueprint separated work and social into two totally different, isolated lessons, it would actually be teaching the learner an unnatural way of speaking.
Exactly.
It would be depriving them of the chance to practice that very natural, very human glide between casual and formal.
It would be teaching textbook English, not survival English.
Survival English. I love that term.
By grouping them together in that podcast script, PTTT3.md file block, the script matches the real, messy rhythm of a human day. It recognizes that even when you are at work, you are still fundamentally a social creature.
That completely flips my perspective on it. It's not a mistake at all. It's actually hyper-realistic.
It's one of the really deep advantages of AI structuring. The AI doesn't have our traditional biases about how language textbooks should look.
It just looks at the raw data.
Right. It just looks at the data of how people actually talk to each other, and it builds the lesson around that truth.
Okay, so we've survived the morning struggle to wake up. We've navigated the chaotic, blended environment of office work and social small talk.
It's been a long day.
It has. But eventually the sun sets, we pack up our bags, we leave the workplace, and we head back home. We return to our private space.
The final major transition of the day.
Which brings us to the final segment of the blueprint, winding down. Now, the sources note something very interesting about the technical setup here. This evening section is technically located within that same combined file block, podcast script, pt2, pt3.md.
Right, the big combined file.
However, the source notes explicitly state that user can manually split Part 2 and Part 3 into two separate audio files if they want to.
Which is a really crucial feature for managing that cognitive load we talked about earlier.
How does splitting the file help with that?
It gives the learner agency. They have control. They can listen to the massive work and social section during their lunch break, stop the audio, go live their actual life, and then return to the evening section when they are genuinely in an evening mindset.
Flexibility is always good, especially when you're tired. But let's look at the actual content the AI chose for this evening section.
Okay.
The source tells us that Part 3 focuses on a very specific pairing: evening relaxation and chores.
Chores.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting to me. Why pair those two things?
Why does that pairing stand out to you so much?
Because when I think about my ideal evening, I only want to think about the relaxation part.
Of course, we all do.
I want to think about watching a movie, reading a good book, or literally just staring at the ceiling doing nothing.
Sounds lovely.
But this script forces the learner to also deal with chores, doing the laundry, taking out the smelly trash, wiping down the kitchen counter.
The boring stuff.
It feels a little bit punishing, honestly, to make a learner study the vocabulary of cleaning a toilet right before they go to bed.
It might feel punishing at first glance, sure. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, the core philosophy of this entire blueprint, it makes perfect sense.
Tell me how.
Again, the Gemini AI is creating a curriculum based on reality, not fantasy.
The harsh reality that the kitchen doesn't magically clean itself?
Exactly. Real daily routines involve washing the dirty dishes.
Okay.
They involve picking up stray shoes from the hallway and checking if the front door is locked.
True.
You usually have to perform these very mundane physical tasks before your brain will actually allow you to sit on the couch and truly relax.
It's so true. You really can't relax if you know there's a huge mountain of dirty plates staring at you from the sink.
Your brain won't let you.
But from a language learning perspective, why prioritize the vocabulary of chores? Isn't it more important to learn the vocabulary of, say, booking a fancy hotel or ordering food at a nice restaurant?
This is a classic trap in language learning.
A trap.
Yes. People love to study what we call aspirational vocabulary.
Words for things we wish we were doing.
Exactly. The words for luxury vacations, rare events, exciting adventures. But let me ask you, how often do you actually book a hotel in a foreign country?
I mean, maybe once a year. If I'm lucky and I have the money.
Right, once a year. But how often do you do the dishes?
Literally every single day, usually twice a day.
Exactly. Chores are high-frequency survival patterns. They are some of the most repetitive actions in your entire life.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
If you learn the simple English words for sponge, soap, scrub, and rinse,
Use them all the time.
you have the opportunity to practice those exact words in your head every single day of your life. The repetition is built natively right into your existence.
Oh, wow. That is a massive advantage for a learner.
It really is.
I don't need to carry around paper flashcards to remember the word sponge because I literally hold a physical sponge in my hand every evening.
Yes. The physical object acts as a permanent anchor for the vocabulary. Your kitchen becomes your classroom.
That's brilliant.
And pairing chores with relaxation vocabulary creates another natural narrative arc, just like we saw in the morning section.
Oh, right. The energy shift.
Yes.
Yeah.
You go from the physical effort of sweeping the floor to the passive release of sinking into the soft sofa. It covers the full spectrum of the human evening experience.
It's the vocabulary of real life. Not the Instagram vacation life, but the actual grounded, normal Tuesday night life.
Exactly.
Now, there is one final, very technical detail in the source notes regarding this evening section that I really want to explore before we finish.
Okay, let's hear it. What do the notes say?
The source explicitly states that across all these parts, but especially as we reach the end of the day, the vocabulary volume and dialogue pacing have been carefully balanced.
That's very important.
Let's make sure we define those two terms clearly for the listener because we are using simple English today.
Absolutely. So vocabulary volume refers to the sheer number of brand new words introduced in a single lesson.
Like, are we learning 5 new words today or 50 new words?
Exactly. It's the density of the new information.
Got it. And dialogue pacing is the actual speed of the audio script, right?
Yes. How fast the speakers are talking, how long the pauses are between their sentences, and how much time the listener's brain actually has to process the sounds they just heard.
So the source highlights that these two metrics, the volume of words and the speed of the talking, are carefully balanced. Why is this balance so critical, especially when we hit this final evening section of the blueprint?
I like to think of learning a language like water pressure in a pipe.
Okay, I like this analogy. Let's keep going.
Vocabulary volume, the number of words, is the amount of water in the pipe.
Okay.
And dialogue pacing, the speed, is the valve that controls how fast that water flows.
So by the time an English learner reaches this third part of the script, the evening chores and relaxation.
They've already absorbed a lot of water.
Right. They learn the morning words about sleep inertia. They learned the midday words about context switching at the office.
Their cognitive budget, which we talked about earlier, is almost completely spent. Their brain is just genuinely tired.
So their mental pipe is already under a lot of pressure.
Exactly. Now imagine if this evening script suddenly introduced a massive volume of highly complex, brand new words.
Like opening the fire hydrant entirely.
Yes. What would happen?
The pipe bursts. The learner just drowns in the information. They can't absorb any more water.
Yes. They experience total information overload. If the dialogue suddenly speeds up, or if 50 new words are thrown at them at 8:00 p.m., they will hit a wall.
And the psychological result of hitting that wall is usually intense frustration.
And if you end your daily English lesson feeling frustrated and tired and feeling like you are stupid,
You aren't going to open the learning app again tomorrow morning.
exactly, frustration is the absolute enemy of habit formation. You want to end the learning cycle on a high note. You want to give the learner a feeling of completion and competence.
So how does the AI balance that valve? How does it fix the pressure?
In the evening section, a well-balanced script might recycle a lot of the grammar structures that were already learned in the morning.
Oh, clever. So the brain doesn't have to work as hard to understand the grammar rules.
Right. It will introduce only a very small handful of new vocabulary words. Just the essential chore and relaxation words, like sponge or couch.
Keep the volume low.
And, crucially, it will naturally slow down the dialogue pacing,
The characters in the audio script might literally speak a little slower.
matching the tired, calm energy of the evening.
Precisely. It gives the listener more processing time. It acts like a careful valve, releasing just enough water to drink without overwhelming them.
It's very gentle.
It respects the fact that the end of a language lesson, just like the end of a real day, should be a time to wind down, to consolidate what you've learned, and to actually feel good about your progress.
It's incredible how empathetic this AI-generated structure actually is when you break it down.
It really is. It doesn't just treat the learner as a robot that inputs data. It treats the learner as a biological organism with energy peaks and energy valleys.
A real human.
By carefully structuring these file blocks from that quick 5-minute morning struggle in podcast script pt1.md,
Through the chaotic, noisy blend of work and social life.
all the way to the carefully paced evening chores in podcast script pt2pt3.md, it creates this beautifully holistic daily lesson.
It proves that the most effective language learning isn't about escaping your life to go study a boring textbook in a quiet room.
No.
It's about turning your actual messy life into the textbook.
We have covered a massive amount of ground today, walking step by step through a full human day. Let's take just a moment to summarize the major insights we pulled from this blueprint.
Sure, we started in the morning looking at the concept of sleep inertia.
The struggle to wake up.
Right. We learned that the struggle to get out of bed isn't just a universal annoyance. It's actually a powerful emotional anchor for your memory.
By linking new English sentence structures to strong physical feelings, we make the vocabulary sticky,
And we also learned the importance of the 5-minute micro habit.
keeping it short to protect our cognitive budget early in the day.
Exactly. Then we moved into the midday bundle, where we really challenged the old idea of separating work language and social language.
We saw how the AI uses real-world data to show that office life is deeply, fundamentally social.
We discussed context switching and why learning to smoothly transition between casual small talk and formal business requests is the true secret to real workplace fluency.
Finally, we wound down with the evening routine. We discovered why high-frequency survival vocabulary.
Like the words for washing dishes and sweeping floors.
Right. Why those words are vastly more useful for daily practice than aspirational vacation vocabulary.
And we explored the water pipe analogy. Understanding why balancing vocabulary volume and dialogue pacing is critical to prevent information overload.
So you end the day with a sense of success, not frustration. So what does this all mean? What does it mean for you, the person listening right now?
It's a great question.
It means that your daily routine, no matter how boring or chaotic you think it might be, is actually a goldmine for language learning.
A total gold mine.
The repetitive actions you take every single day are the absolute perfect hooks to hang new English words on. When the vocabulary matches your physical actions, the language stops being an abstract puzzle. It becomes a living, breathing part of your environment.
It shifts from something you study to something you simply live.
Exactly. Now, before we officially sign off today, I want to leave you with the final thought, the little mental exercise to take with you tomorrow.
Oh, I love these.
We've talked a lot today about the universal parts of a day. Waking up, chatting at the coffee machine, doing the laundry. But everyone's day has strange, unique quirks.
The weird little habits that belong only to you.
Right. So, think about this. If you were to use an AI like Gemini to create a perfectly customized script of your specific daily routine, just for you to teach someone else English,
Okay.
what highly specific, strange, funny thing would you have to include?
What is the vocabulary of your unique life?
Maybe your morning routine involves trying to feed a very specific, very loud orange cat at exactly 6:10 a.m.
I know that feeling.
Right. What is the English vocabulary for negotiating with a hungry cat?
Or maybe your evening chore involves watering 35 different tropical houseplants with a tiny little spray bottle.
Yes. What are the action verbs for that? Those hyper-specific details are what make your life interesting, and they are exactly what makes language learning fun.
Find the joy in the weird details.
As you go through your routine tomorrow, notice those little quirks. When you're doing that strange, unique chore, pause for a second and ask yourself, how would I explain this action in simple English?
Try to see the hidden structure of your own day.
Find the language in your own life. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep noticing the details, keep practicing your English, and we will catch you next time.